Hey, what's up guys, Andy here, and today we're reviewing over Fairy Tail episode 309 titled Broken Bonds. Now, I'm not gonna lie with y'all, this was a terrible episode. No, I'm just playing. It was a terrible episode for what happened, but it was an overall great episode, and I'm not sure what's gonna happen to Makarov here. I mean, they've teased his death a lot, so I'm not sure if it sticks this time or not, but I mean, it seems like it will, and I'm not gonna lie with y'all, I might have just got over a cry session. They put this together beautifully, and it pulled at the heartstrings a little bit, the ending scene, but there's a lot of stuff to unpack in this episode, so without further delay, gang, I really just want to get right into this and talk about it. I'm not gonna lie, there's not gonna be too much of an intro here, besides, you know, our normal stuff that we have to get into before the episode, but yeah. Overall, great episode. Loved everything about it. Broken Bonds was a perfect name for it. And I don't know where we go from here. But yeah, I don't know. So, don't forget to check me out on Instagram. I post a lot of anime stuff that you all might enjoy. So check that out, and let's get right into this review. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you all do end up enjoying the video, or y'all just want to help the channel grow in general, and let's jump right into this.
They say you don't gotta go home, but you can't stay here. And no, I don't wanna be alone in the world out there.
So we start things off pretty paranormal with a little bit of recap of Gray and Natsu kind of running into each other here, and then we cut straight into the intro, and right after the intro, we get into some action here. Gray says, "So you were E.N.D. all along," and Natsu says, "Get out of my way," and Gray says, "Answer me, Natsu," like pissed off, and you can tell it's about to go down between these two, and they just have this moment to where, like, you know, Gray has this flashback of INVOKED telling him, like, you know, they were created, they're tools to kill Zareth, and, you know, his ability to die has caused him distress, that's why he made him. And then we cut into our title card, Broken Bonds, and there's so much meaning behind this name. It was a perfect meaning. It's not Natsu and Gray, though, I don't think. We'll talk about that in a minute, but Gray tells him, he's like, "I'm gonna stop you, you know, all this hardship you caused, so now I'm gonna kill you." And, like, they both are going at it to kill each other here, like, they're hardcore fighting, like, they're not holding punches back right here. So, I don't know how their fight would have concluded, but it did end. We'll talk about that at the end of the video, though. But we cut over to Brandish, Evergreen, and Porliosica here, and she says, "I can reduce my wounds, but I can't reduce my confusion," and Lucy gives a good little speech here where she's talking about, like, that's what makes you human. But cutting over to the other side of the spectrum here, we got Juvia, where, you know, she says, "I have to do something before it's too late." Now, you would think that those two aren't huge scenes, but that's what drove Natsu and Gray over the limit. Natsu saw Lucy unresponsive, and that's when he flipped the fuck out, you know? I just bleeped to myself. I don't know why. So, yeah, and Gray went crazy because of Juvia dying, which neither one of them are dead, but they both think they are. And they're running at each other, and they're like, "I'm gonna end your life. This is why I'm gonna do it," you know? So, Gray's motivation is Juvia and his whole family, and Natsu's motivation is his will to kill Zareth and Lucy. We cut over to Makarov here, who appears to be having, like, heart trouble, and, like, everybody's fighting, and he says, you know, Erza jumps in, and she's like, "Don't worry, Master, we're gonna make it through this together." And that's when a huge-ass eye pops out of the sky, and she says, "You can't hide, Mavis. There's no escape from here." But this kind of played right into Mavis's hands. She used that as a morale upper, and she used her illusion magic to create a huge version of herself, and she's like, "Hear me, comrades, I do not intend to hide. We will take our guild hall back," and, like, it just rose morale up. Even though they're outnumbered, you know, they're still fighting to win, but that's when, Irene uses enchant Berserker on all the why can't I talk today? All the soldiers. And they lose their ability to think, but they all become like superhuman that don't feel pain. And that's when Makarov says, this is how my journey's gonna end, you know? And this is where it really started to get heavy. Like, you see the stance and everybody's like, oh, it's fairy law. I can't believe I forgot about that. Why haven't we been using that? Which I thought too, but there's logic behind it. The more enemies there are, the more fairy law drains your life, which that's understandable. I get that now. That makes perfect sense. I'm okay with that. But Makarov is seeing all this carnage, and he's seeing everybody like getting hurt, and he tells Mavis, he's like, to you they may be soldiers, but to me they're my precious kids, and I can't stand back while they get hurt. In which, you know, that's Makarov's character. He's been like that since day one, and he's in the stance and the light starts coming, and he says, Erza, listen to me. And she's like, no, I refuse to. Stop. What are you doing? Please stop. And he goes full stance here, and he does it. He says here, he's given a speech, and he's like, a guild is a family. No one ever forget that. Never. You know, he's telling them, he's like, you know, you all gotta be strong, and you all gotta win this. I'm gonna reduce as much as I can. And we see all the scenes here of, like, Wakabe, everybody, like Alzak, Biska, everyone's just kind of crying, and he says, I have no more regrets. You know, you all were a great family. Thank you. And then fairy law. He uses it, and the light like expands everywhere across the battlefield, and he ends up taking out 80% of their soldiers, so that's pretty good. But then we cut over to Porliosica and Evergreen, and Evergreen's like, that feels like, and then Porliosica says, that dimwit. So she kind of already knows what's happening, but no one else really did at the time until they pan back over here, and Makarov is like a statue. I don't know if they'll be able to save him. I mean, maybe, because, I mean, they've teased his death a lot in this show. But, like, this is about the scene where I started crying, because they had a flashback of Makarov being named by Mavis, and she's like, he was a kind-hearted king from a book I read. That's why I'm going to name him Makarov. And we get to see baby Makarov, and he's been grown up in this guild hall, and she breaks down crying. And this is the part where I was like, oh, fuck. Because Loxus walked up, and he grabbed her, and she's like, Mavis, there's still a battle. Well, you got to stand up. And it was such a cute moment. I was like, oh my god. And then Erza, it cuts to her crying, and she looks up, and she bows down and prays, and she's like, I'm happy to have been your child. And, you know, I've grown to love these characters so much, so it's crazy. But we cut back over to Gray and Erza here, or Gray and Erza. We cut back over to Gray and Natsu fighting, and they're having a badass killer fight scene. Like, you know, their magic kind of cancels each other, because, like, Gray can, like, freeze the fire, and Natsu can burn the fire, and they go in for big punches, and Erza steps right between them. And this was a very powerful scene, not just due to the sheer fact that, you know, Erza stopped their fights before, but this is them at full power, and she just stepped right between them, and she's crying, and Natsu sees her, and he immediately snaps out of it, and he goes, Erza, and Gray goes, tears? So they're about to find out what happened to Makarov next episode, and it's going to be insane. But yeah, that was my 309 review for Fairy Tail. Really, really upsetting episode. I've said it 100 times, like, not in videos, but I think Makarov should have died before now from all the stuff he's done. But this was a perfect way for him to actually die if he is dead. I get now why Juvia is still alive. She's the key part of why Gray is so pissed off at the moment. But, like, they could have did it with another character, because we needed a big death right here, and they didn't disappoint with Makarov, because he was a huge death. And I loved the way they did it. I mean, it made perfect sense to me, made perfect sense to everything that was going on in the situation. The anime did perfect with it, with all the little small flashbacks, but they were effective. And like the speech he gave was just amazing. I can't even tell you all how good it was. You all just need to go watch the episode yourself if you haven't already, or when you can. But yeah, that was my review, and I'm really looking forward to what happens next between Gray and Natsu. I think they're both going to come out of it. The power of friendship and the family will stop them. And I mean, you still got a crazy front to look at. I mean, you've still got Erza out there. You still got Mira Jane. You still got Guild Arts at full health here. You've got Loxus. You've got Natsu, E.N.D. form. You've got Gray. You've got Wendy still going around. Juvia's still there. She's not really up to battle right now, but like everybody's there and ready to go. So I can't wait to see what happens in 310. But I feel like the series is slowly starting to wrap up, and oh boy, it's going to be upsetting. But yeah, hope y'all did enjoy. If y'all did, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch y'all next time. Peace out.
Take a moment right here, feeling like it's out gear, driving towards the sun with a rose and a gun. Feel the wind in my hair.